我们简单寒暄后，采访正式开始。First of all, it's amazing to see you coming back with new songs and a new touring plan. Can you share a bit about what you have been doing in the past 7 years?
First, it's great to have you and meet you, and thank you for the nice words. Very, very kind. I think for us, in that 7 year period of time, there's a good chunk of it where we were just reconnecting back home with friends and family, and from the year 2000 forward, we had so much happening so quickly at a pace that was so fast. I feel like we definitely needed a minute to catch our breath and just take that time to kind of assess what we want to do moving forward. And then once we were at a place where Mike and Joe and myself were wanting to see what we could do together creatively, then that began a series of steps that took, maybe years and years, maybe 5 years or so to get to where we're at today. So there was a long process in that and a ton of different emotions. There's a lot of healing. There was a lot of discussions, a lot of growth that we needed to kind of have and go through. And then additionally, a lot of new people coming into the mix and excitement with that and figuring out those things. And it's been a good, positive road at the end of all that to be sitting here with you today and enjoying seeing all of you guys here in this format, and kind of being out playing music again feels great.
Yeah, it's also great to see you coming back. So speaking of the reunion, a question for Emily and Colin. How you met the band and decide be the part of it?
It was back in 2019 where Mike hit me up to do some recording session, because he works with a lot of people. So it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, let's write some stuff. I went to his studio and we started writing a couple songs, and, it was really cool. I got to know him a little bit, but it wasn't until, a year and a half ago now, maybe, no, I don't know. So he hit me up to come work again and just see, write something. And it wasn't until then, it was just like, oh, this feels different. Came to a place, I believe, around, over a year ago, where I was like, oh, it feels different. And for some reason, it hasn't really stopped since then. We just started writing and we were just like, oh, this is fun. Like I'll see you tomorrow. And it just kind of took on this evolution, and we just all we just roll with it. And I believe by the time we had finished the album, we were just getting started. The world has only seen this lineup now for 22 days. So that's an adjustment as well. And I'm very excited about the future and what else we could create together. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit in other interviews and things, but I mean, the short of it is Mike and I became friends years ago, working on productions and songwriting for other artists, and then he and I became good friends, and were working so much that it happened like so slowly, but then all at once. It's hard to explain because it was such a natural progression. Like eventually, you were living in Hawaii. He would come in and say, hey, we want to do a few days with Joe, and Dave would come up, and and then I met Emily. And again, there was like no expectation. There was never, this question has come up a few times tonight or today, where it's like, what was the moment? Because everybody wants to know the quick answer, but a real answer is that it just felt like it was natural, because they were having to, him and Brad and Mike and these four guys have to, a lot to unpack for themselves, and then bringing Emily and I in it. So it happened all at once and very, very slowly at the same time. So it's like,
if there is a specific time for it.
Well, there was like moments of clarity for me where I was like, oh my God, like this is really happening. But there were lots of those, at different stages. And each of them were just as impactful and emotional for me as the last. But as we got closer, and keeping this all under wraps, under secret, from everybody, really, all of it was very challenging and exciting. And yeah.
So both of you mentioned it's a natural process. Therefore, I want to ask Mike, so what kind of characteristic you find in Emily and Colin makes them stand out?
I think I've said to people before that this is like, it's like the talent and ability was like the most basic thing that I would expect if we're going to work with somebody, like we only want to work with people who are really talented. But I thought more important to all of us in the, like, I should say for me and Joe and Dave and Brad, is that when we would do a session with Emily or do a session with Colin or do a session with both of them, it would be so fun. And then you would you'd leave that session wanting to do another session. You know, I felt energized when I worked with them. I felt the same when we got into rehearsals and stuff. I just felt like it's just really fun to get together. And, you know, we'd finish rehearsals and just end up sitting around like in our like little hangout space or like dressing room for like another hour or two, just sitting around talking. I think that says a lot about like how people get along. When you're in a band, it's, you know, you've got to do a lot of things together. You got to, like, sometimes the travel is very difficult, or like people get hung up at the airport or something, or people get like, you know,
Not me.
you have, there's things that make touring like less comfortable and can be a little difficult. But when you're doing it with great people that, you know, you like spending time with, then it just makes it easier. It makes it more fun.
Talking about people, talking about band members, I'm reminded of the concept of the ship of Theseus. If compare Linkin Park with the ship, your music style constantly evolved and you have lineup changes. Therefore, what's the core that you think keeps Linkin Park Linkin Park?
I would say the core is the friendship. I think all of us started off as friends. Like, I remember for myself, I met Mike at art school, and we gravitated towards each other because we shared common interests and shared the joy of music and different art. And then, you know, I was DJing at the time, and then one day Mike was like, "Hey, you want to come meet my friend from high school, Brad and Mark?" And Brad was roommates with Dave at that time, and it was just like, okay, we got together, started making music, and just started hanging out. We would hang out at Dave's dorm room at UCLA, did what, like, you know, kids do at that time, at that age, and that same joy, it came naturally with Colin and Emily. The reflection of harmonization in the conversations is easily matched with what's involved with making music.
Following your point of music, you've already released 2 new songs. Those reminds me of your second album, Meteora. Is there any other unexpected new elements we can look forward to in your new album?
I feel like it's similar but different. I feel like it's like there's a lot of Linkin Park DNA in it. It's definitely like a Linkin Park album, but it's a new Linkin Park album.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
If this was a solar system and these songs were planets, that Emptiness Machine and Heavy as the Crown would be in the kind of middle rings. And then there are songs that are closer in the middle, and there are songs that are further away.
Sounds great. I'm really looking forward to listen to the full album. Seems we are running out of time. I just want to know the most important question. When can we expect a China tour?
Ask Joe. Joe knows.
Joe?
Yeah. I really want to answer this, but I can't because we haven't finalized the details. But there is rumors. I'm hearing rumors.
Come on, you have to tell us something.
We don't know anything.
What do you think?
We will go to China. I don't know when.
I hope so.
Yes.
I hope to see you in China. Thank you. Thank you, guys.